Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Pam Croak. I'm the CEO of the Bucks County Association of Realtors, and this is your official welcome to Kickstarting Your Real Estate Career. We're very excited to have this program for you today. This is the brainchild of our New Member Success Committee. It's a very, very proactive committee, and I know that they're excited to get going with some great content for you. I don't want to take a lot of time for housekeeping, but I am going to ask you to keep yourself on mute. If you're able, put yourself on camera. It's just more engaging for everybody. Post your questions in the chat function. Hopefully you folks know where that is. Scroll on my screen, it's at the bottom. You can post your questions there. They'll be answered at the end. Right now, I do want to say a special welcome to the BCAR President, Lynn Scherer, who is on our call today, and I appreciate her taking the time to be here. And we have also today, we have our affiliate sponsor is Kristen Kidd Photography. So Kristen, I'm going to turn this over to you for a second.
Absolutely. It's so great to be here. And Kristen Kidd Photography is recently rebranded to Lux Summit Studio. So we're so happy to be here and seeing you guys today. Here's what I want to know. Do you love your headshot? Do you hate your headshot? Yeah, you know, your headshot, the first thing that people see or should be seeing when they open an email from you, visit your website, or follow you on social media. I'm Kristen Kidd, owner and photographer at Lux Summit Studio. Your headshot is your first impression, so let's make it a good one. On March 11th, mark your calendars, everyone, Lux Summit Studio will be hosting a headshot marathon. There are only 6 session slots available. It's first come, first serve. Find our contact details in the chat. It's the first thing that you'll see in the chat today. All sessions will include a pre-session consult, including wardrobe consult, hair and makeup touch-ups, a stylized studio session, a design consult where you'll pick your favorite photos. Your first 3 are included in your package for just $3.90. If your professional headshot is a selfie, a photo with a loved one cut out, or if your headshot is years old and simply doesn't show your best self, then see our details in the chat and reach out today to book your headshot on March 11th Headshot Marathon event at Lux Summit Studio in North Wales. Thank you so much. And then just to close it out and show you a little bit about who we are, I'm going to do a quick screen share here so you can see a little behind the scenes at our studio. I hope you enjoy, and it's so nice to see you all.
Thanks so much, Kristen. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Right now, I do want to remind everyone that we are recording this session, and what we do with these recordings is right afterwards, Siobhan, our communications director, makes sure it's ready for prime time, and then it goes out to all of our membership, and it lives on our YouTube channel, on our website. So we get a lot of viewing after the fact. So if you have colleagues who weren't able to join us, tell them that it's coming their way. Right now, I'm very happy to turn this over to one of our new Member Success Committee co-chairs, Janine Allan. Take it away, Janine.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here today. This is our first event as the new Member Success Committee gets its big start. So I appreciate you all coming. My portion that I'm going to be talking about is owning your own business. So I just wanted to give a little details about myself and the start of my career. And just take a minute and imagine it's your first day in your first real estate course and you're so excited. And the first thing the teacher says is that the majority of real estate agents are alcoholics. Just imagine that. Can you even think what I'm thinking there at 20 years old, hearing that come out of his mouth? And I thought to myself, as much as I love wine, that is not going to be me. So from there, I was kind of thrown into the business. I own and am the broker of my family-run business. We've been in Bristol Borough for about 60 years now. 10 of those years I've been here. It's been very exciting, but also very challenging. It was never my thought out career path. It kind of just happened that unfortunately my father passed away and he was kind of the mogul here. So I was a stand-in real estate agent at age 20, working from my apartment on Westchester University campus, setting up showings, coming home on weekends, weeknights, and trying to figure this all out. So through that navigation, I've been able to come up with some tools that I feel like were helpful for me and hopefully will be helpful for you. Just a little bit more of my background. I went from Westchester to LaSalle University and got my master's degree. And at that point, I had been working 2 jobs, one of them being real estate full-time and another job working from home and also going to school and trying to expedite my master's degree, which I ended up finishing in about 1.5 years. So then I officially took over the office when my grandfather passed away about 5 years ago. And from there, you sort of have to develop these tools to have a healthy work-life balance, or the business will literally eat you alive. And you will be part of, that statistic because it is very overwhelming. So basically, things really struggled for me. Like I developed a little bit of anxiety. My friends kind of took a back seat. I definitely was not out and meeting anybody for my future. And probably about 3 years ago, I said to myself, this has to stop. I ended up meeting my now husband, which is great. And we have a house and it's very exciting, but I wouldn't have been able to do that without developing that healthy life balance. So just going into one of the tools that I found to be helpful that was actually suggested to me through BCAR was Calendly. Jim Oliveri, who handles most of the tech for BCAR, actually gave me that tool. And I think it is something that you want to download on your phone. You can pay for an upgraded version of that if you find that you love it. I would say just download it right now. See if you like it, kind of feel it out. Some of the things that I love about it is that it integrates with, I have Gmail, so it integrates with my Gmail calendar. But if you have an Android, it will also integrate with those things as well. But you can so easily set up your meeting times, invite somebody, have them confirm. It'll send them notifications so that you're all in the same place at the same time. You can link it with Zoom. Now that Zoom has become so big, I found that to be one of the greatest parts of Calendly, is that it will just connect you. You'll be able to easily click and go to your meeting. And the last minute changes thing. So like if, well, you know how quickly things are selling right now. So if you need to cancel out a showing, you can do that through the app. They'll get a notification right away. If you just need to do a reschedule, they'll be able to link to your calendar, figure out a time that works for them, and schedule it at a time that's already open for you. One of the most important parts about this calendar or any other calendar is that you set some block off time. This is probably the hardest thing for me, because in the first 3 years of real estate, you just kind of want to be available. You want all the showings, you want all the clients, you want everything. So it's really important for you to set off those times. Like, what's a cutoff time for you? Is it 8:30? Is it 9 o'clock? I mean, I understand keeping the phone close by for emergencies, but just remember that if you're answering every single text message and every single call, you're setting a precedent for your whole business working relationship with that person. And the second you don't answer them at 9:30, when you've been answering them at 9:30 the 3 days before, they might want to find another real estate agent because you're not holding up to the standard you really set for yourself. So I always say, set the precedent with your client early. You know, if they're texting you about a property that was just listed at 9 p.m., chances are you could wait until 8 or 9 o'clock the next morning to answer that and set up a showing with them. So just kind of be realistic about the expectations that you're setting for yourself and for your client. And I think that that'll help you maintain that, you know, healthy work-life balance. Just some things that I feel like are a priority that you should look into, you know, besides obviously your client base. My number one thing is courses to better educate yourself in the real estate field, whether that is courses through BCAR, whether that's something you want to do online. I feel like it's made so easy now that you can just hop on, you know, take a course, educate yourself in an area that maybe you're struggling. Maybe you don't have a lot of buyers and you want to go on and just see how can you best, you know, get more of a buyer client base. So just figure out where your strengths and weaknesses are and try to really hone in on how you can be better, just because they're so easily available right now. And again, that's something you could schedule potentially around your schedule, depending on the coursework. Try to attend the conferences. We just had the Atlantic City Expo, which has a bunch of classes, but just stay up to date on what's coming up with, you know, BCAR, PAR, NAR, and just be able to, you know, keep up to date with that. Another thing that I did almost immediately within the first year was to get involved locally in the community. So lucky for me, Bristol Borough is totally small town politics. So I was able to go to a few local places and just introduce myself, establish a relationship, leave some business cards, and kind of just exchange that, you know, client base with them almost, and say, you know, I have clients coming in here. Can I send them here for coffee? Can I send them here? Even going to the library and introducing yourself to the people there and saying, if they need to print out a contract, if they need to better understand something, history of the area, anything like that, just establishing those relationships. And I think one of the best things that I did was spend some time in a small town local coffee shop. Have your laptop out on the desk. There's things, so All Things Real Estate is one of my absolute favorite websites to go to for like pamphlets and materials. They're very fun, very modern kind of website, but they have these little tents you can set up next to your computer that say, ask me about real estate or want to buy a house. And that way you can sit there and you're advertising yourself while you're working. You don't even need to be working. Play a game on your computer, but as long as you have that tent up, you may get some questions and you may end up getting a client or two. Just from sitting there for an hour at their busiest time between, you know, 7 and 9, pick a half hour, sit there and have that tent up, you know, and talk with people. That's a way to integrate, you know, your morning coffee with also possibly gaining potential clients. So those are just a few things. I had some fun personal tidbits, just like podcasts that I've really come to love. Realtor.com has Real Estate Today, which I really try to listen to 1 to 2 times a week. So you could definitely, listen to that. House Party is like when you need some really light, fun, real estate things. They talk about like haunted houses and kind of like freak stories, which by the way, rarely ever happen. But it's just fun to think to yourself, it definitely could be worse when you're having a rough day. So that's pretty much all I have. I just wanted to briefly talk about the new member success committee. So I got nominated into being a director of the board of directors, which was an incredible accomplishment. And when I took the oath, I asked Pam actually, am I the youngest person to ever be on this board? And her answer was, I really think so. So I am 30 years old. I took the position at 28. And in my head, I just thought to myself, I really need to figure out my niche within the board and within the committee options. And what ended up happening is that we created something totally different. So it started out as the Young Professionals Network, which a lot of the different counties have, but we really didn't want it to be distinguished by age. We wanted to be able to reach out to most of the new members and just try to help them, because the first 3 years of your real estate career, really 5 years, are the hardest. And a lot of people just kind of give it a little bit of a shot and bow out. And we really want to make sure that you have the tools to be as successful as possible, because I know, and Javier, my co-chair, knows how hard the first 3 years are. So I took on the position as a chair, and Javier was recommended as co-chair. And I looked at his background for about 3 minutes before I decided that he was the perfect person to be, co-chair with me. We did do a few polls where we figured out things that you're looking for. We are always open to things that you feel you could benefit from training on, classes on, anything that myself or Javier can help with. We would love to hear your feedback. We would love for you to join the committee and help us reach out to new members. So if this is something you're interested in, if you just want to, put details in the chat, that's great. If you want to reach out to me personally, that's great too. And I will leave my information in the chat as well. But we're so excited to do this. We're so excited that this is our first event. If you have any questions about anything I talked about also, or if you just want to talk to me about what it's like owning my own business or anything like that, I'd be happy to talk about it with you. My expertise is really in the area of property management, but I do buying and selling as well. So any questions there, I'd be happy to go over them with you. I am going to pass the baton to Rhonda. She's going to talk a little bit about social media, and we couldn't be more excited. So thanks so much for listening to me, and hopefully I'll get to meet some of you soon.
Thank you, Janine. Hi, everybody. How are you today? I wanted to quickly share my screen. My name's Rhonda. I appreciate everybody coming, and we appreciate you being involved. And congratulations to all you new realtors, and honestly, congratulations to us old realtors too, because we're here another year, right? Can you guys see my screen? Thumbs up. Okay, awesome. So I'm here to talk about social media and lead generation. And obviously, I probably will say this a couple of times, but it's quite torturous to try to cram it all in 12 minutes. So let me just see if I can get to my controls. All right, thanks again for coming. I appreciate your time, and I want to just dive right in from a beginner standpoint. So if you're not a beginner, I apologize if any of this is too basic. I'm hoping everybody here can raise their hand and say, yes, I'm on social media. Because it is quite prevalent in our lives these days, but I like to throw out statistics for anybody who needs to see the numbers. 77% of realtors actively use social media for real estate in some way, shape, or form. 47% of real estate businesses note that social media results in the highest quality leads from any other sources. And 99% of millennials and 90% of baby boomers begin their home search online as opposed to in-person referrals. So obviously, you just need to have some form of social media because it's free to at least have people be able to find you. So in trying to cram it all in my 12-minute speech or whatnot, you know, I just wanted to say, I'm here to tell you something that's probably going to absolutely blow your mind, or at least make you change your point of view on social media platforms. People love them or hate them, but here is the most important thing as a realtor that you can know about social media. LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all these things are technically search engines. Okay, don't look at it as I got to post something, I got to do this, I got to do that. People can find you and use you as a realtor from these sites. So if you change that perspective in your mind and think, if someone Googles my name, sure, Google my business will come up. Facebook is going to come up, Instagram is going to come up, TikTok videos that you posted are going to come up if you're doing that. And your LinkedIn profile. So make sure you've got everything, at least out of the big four, going for you. The other thing is, you know, that people say that real estate is a relationship business. I'm here to also say it's also a marketing business. Okay, like if you can't market yourself, you're not going to be able to market somebody's house, right? So in an effort to speed through my production, I am going to do 5 helpful tips on social media, and then I'm going to do 5 tips on lead generation revolving around social media. So tip number 1, choose where to post. I mean, I could just go on and on. I could go on about statistics, but here's what's important. You know what you're comfortable with, and you know what platform you like. For instance, a lot of younger people, Janine, you go girl, you know, and maybe you're not, but a lot of younger people are into TikTok. Okay, TikTok is basically videos. I'm a Gen Xer. I'm a little older, but I still consider myself young. But personally, when I was a kid, you know, we didn't want to copy off each other, but now everybody wants to copy off each other, and it makes it really easy to come up with your own content. So if you're interested in TikTok, check that out. If you're already on Facebook and you're comfortable with that, post there. Okay. If you like Instagram, post there. If you're already using it, you know, go with it. So here's another tip that not everyone knows about who's not tech savvy, and that is that Facebook bought Instagram, and they have allowed you to link your Instagram and your Facebook. In particular, like I have my Instagram linked to my Facebook business page. So anytime I go into Business Suite, which is this little app here, I can literally post to Instagram and it shows up on my business page. That is a huge time saver, like if you want to be on more than one platform. The interesting thing about it is that algorithms constantly change. Facebook is constantly like figuring out how else can I manipulate these people to my advantage on the one hand, sorry. But that being said, you don't want to keep posting, you know, the same thing. You don't want to post a lot of things on Facebook that are going to lead you away from Facebook, because Facebook is going to make sure that your audience does not see that. It is said that LinkedIn, if you're posting on LinkedIn, it's going to produce more organic leads because they're not having literal, you know, control over who views it. Everyone who's a connection on LinkedIn will get to view it. Okay, so tip 2, schedule your posts consistently. basically, it's broken down into, where do you want to post, when to post it. I would recommend just jumping on the back of what Janine said. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist. So I literally, at the beginning of the month, will schedule 2 hours on a Monday, 2 hours on the next Monday to just plan out my posts. And then you can literally, through your app or through their website, schedule when the post appears. Like, I know, Valentine's Day is coming up. I already got my Valentine's Day post scheduled. I'm never gonna have to think about it. It's just gonna show up. So that is an option to make it more scalable, so you're not overwhelmed by having to post all the time. If you have at least one post scheduled, if you know most of your friends are on Facebook in the morning, post it then. Okay, tip 3, what should you post? So yeah, that can get super overwhelming. I want everyone to know that I don't mind if you take pictures or screenshot these, because I'm just gonna blow through it. But here's some examples of what to post. And the most important thing to remember is the 80-20 rule. All right, like everybody wants to see 80% personal and 20% business. If you turn your page into home and lands of Bucks County, people are going to get bored. They're probably not going to go to your page. And let's face it, as realtors, often we like to hear ourselves talk, but it's really not about us. Like it's more about how you can, make people feel good or showcase just who you are, but not necessarily bragging about, all of your awesome real estate. Of course, have that in there, but don't have it in there 80% of the time. So important things to post: pics of yourself, your life, if you're comfortable, your family. Tell a story about life as a realtor. Tell a story about, that one lady who fell down while trying to show a house, like her video went viral. Video is really an important thing to get comfortable with, guys. So feel free to take a picture of this. I'm going to scoot on to the next slide, but you will get a recording of this when it's done. Tip 4, use video. So basically, I just want to add for the video people that, it is overwhelming. Okay, if you're not comfortable being on camera, if you're not comfortable being you, it is kind of just going to be smart to get comfortable with it. As far as video goes, I believe the stat is around 30%, 33% of realtors use video. You'll probably hear other awesome panelists that I'm here with today mention that video is a really great tool. So I'd like to say the most important thing about that is just don't care what other people think. When it comes to video, done is better than perfect. Okay, don't worry about if you had a hair, if your makeup's not done. Look at Elise Meyer. She's one of my favorite TikTokers. She's literally made a fortune with her hair messed up in her sweats, drinking coffee, talking to people about stories. So just be you in your video and get it done, right? Because the people who matter, the people who mind don't matter, and the people who matter don't mind. I'm like, what is that saying? So next, I want to say, what kind of video should I make? The thing that I love to leverage with video is that videos can also be your script practice. As a new realtor, you got to get comfortable saying, hey, let me tell you about the buying process. Let me tell you about the selling process. You can tell stories. You can literally think about, who is your ideal client? What kind of problem would my ideal client have? How can I help them solve it? Let me make a video about that. Because, hey, not only is that something that you can save and use in the future for any other client, right? You can put it on your YouTube channel. You can do whatever you want with it, but it's script practice. It's getting you more comfortable talking to clients to get clients, right? As well as helping you narrow down your niche. Like, everybody wants to have a focus, because if you're trying to serve everyone, who are you really serving, right? So I already kind of talked about be yourself and be you, but I guess I really should also talk about where you're going to start to store these videos. If you're like me and you have way too many pictures and videos on your phone, I would recommend a free Google Drive, and then I would put your videos on YouTube. YouTube is free to have your own channel. again, it's a resource you can send out to your clients if they, need, like after I'll do a buyer consultation, I will email them a video that I have saved of explaining the buyer process so they can go back and watch it, especially the first time home buyers. Like sometimes they can't even catch it all because you're trying to tell them everything you need to do. So, but again, if you're sharing on Facebook a video, don't share your YouTube link. They're not going to show it to everyone because they don't want people to leave Facebook and go to YouTube. Those algorithms are too much. Okay, so how am I doing on time? I hope I'm okay. I'm going to keep moving forward here.
We're actually at the end of your presentation, but if you have a couple more minutes, we'll just have to go a little bit beyond one, I think.
Yeah, I don't think I started talking until a little late too. So, all right, I'll speed through these last 5. So lead generation, basically this is a kind of ridiculous, redundant tip because everyone is going to tell you when you get into real estate to tell everyone what you're doing. But I have a really nice little tip for those of you who don't like to cold call and door knock. You can also go on Messenger and Facebook and literally just explain to everyone, take 10 to 20 minutes a day and send 10 to 20 messages to everyone in your friends list. You can make it personal, of course, like I've been thinking of you and your family lately. We need to catch up. I'd like to, tell you I got my real estate license and just see how your life's going. Next, you want to, in your posts and videos, tip 2, a CTA, call to action. You want to like and share, like say this in your video or in your post, like and share my video, text or message me to help you with this process. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, fill out this form for free info, click on this link for free info. And tip 3 is basically going to be advertise on Facebook or Instagram. You can take out an ad if you would like. A lot of people do it. A lot of people get great results. If nothing else, you can literally pick goals for what you want your ad to do. Do you want your ad to get more website videos? Do you want to get more calls? Do you want to promote your page? Do you want to get more likes? Do you want to get more messages? As you can see, I have on the right here stats for an ad I ran recently and how many people actually saw it. Last 2 guys, sorry, create a squeeze page is tip 4. And a squeeze page is basically designed to squeeze someone's email from them in return for something. It can be done in a variety of ways, but I typically do a Google form. So if you want to look up on YouTube, like how to create a squeeze page in a Google form, you're going to find it. No problem. I won't go into more detail right now. Tip 5, create a lead magnet. A lead magnet is a free resource that attracts potential customers for your niche to click on, such as I'm going to create this buyer's guide for first-time home buyers. I'm going to write it up. I'm literally going to have it, email me or message me if you want this free resource. Then make sure you get their email and their contact information before you give it to them. It's just another way to promote yourself. All right, on that note, guys, this is my checklist screenshot for what you would want to do if you're just starting out on social media to make sure that you have everything in this checklist done so that you are moving forward with your social media and getting clients. I will click to the next one, but you're going to get a copy of this later if you didn't take a picture yet. Thanks, everybody. Keep going, keep growing. Thanks for everything. Let me know if you have any questions.
Great job, Rhonda.
Thanks.
Great job, Rhonda. I love that.
Thanks so much, Rhonda. I think we're ready for Aaron to take the helm.
All right, all right. So I'm not going to be as detailed as Rhonda is. She just shut the whole house down. But I do want to first say congratulations to each and every one of you that are here. We had a multitude of folks that signed up. You guys followed through, so hand clap to you all. Now, Janie, or is it Janine? I get it wrong. Hats off to you.
Totally fine.
30 years old and you're doing major things. I'm not going to tell you my age. I'm not ashamed of it, but I'm not going to tell you. but I'm not an alcoholic. I want to let you know that. And here's a stat that I want to share with you. We have, when you think about who we are and what we do as realtors, when you look at the preamble to the Code of Ethics, I'm going to read this to you. It reads, under all is the land. Wise utilization and widely allocated ownership depend on, listen to this, the survival and growth of free institutions and, listen up, our civilization. What we do maintains our civilization. That's some powerful stuff right there. And so my topic right now is things that keep your broker up at night. Contracts, conduct, conversation. Those are the three things. Now, one thing that I can almost guarantee you that many agents do is we do not share the consumer notice. Rhonda says that at the first substantial conversation, you're supposed to provide this document, the consumer notice. And if you're having a conversation and you don't have the option or the opportunity to share it, you're supposed to read to them the oral disclosure verbatim. I'm not going to ask all of you seasoned agents, how many of us actually do that? And so when we think about the things that keep us up at night or keep your broker up at night, think about this. Your broker is responsible for every agent in that office. They are good for you, Scott. Scott said every single time, good for you. But for those of you who are aspiring to be in this industry and perhaps at some time become a broker, you are responsible for every agent in your office. Whether you're there or not, it's your duty to make sure that they are trained. It's your duty to make sure that they are knowledgeable. It's your duty to make sure that they are following the Code of Ethics and all of those other things. So we're going to look at a couple of things when we think about conversations and conduct. First of all, we have a fiduciary duty to our client, and unless or until they hire you, there is no contractual relationship that exists. You have no fiduciary duty, you have no duty of obedience, but you do have to treat everyone honestly. And so people tend to think, and I had a consumer the other day that wanted to see one of my listings. They felt as though getting to the listing agent gave them some type of advantage. And I had to let them know, you have no advantage, because anything you ask me, I'm representing the seller. And so when we think about this, you want to make sure that you treat everybody honestly. And sometimes there are conversations, like we heard a lot of conversation about people being old and people being young. That could get us in trouble when we start talking about people's age. And when we look at it, the old folks are considered those at 40 or older. I'm not going to ask any questions about anybody's age so I don't get in trouble. But we want to think about that. When we think about conversations and conduct, it comes down to the old acronym, the fresh corn. You want to make sure that you stay away from, or you don't discriminate against people because of their family status. So you can't say certain words. You can't do certain things. I have a client, I'm listing their property right now, and they have a sun porch. I asked the question, what do you refer to this as? And they came back as the man cave. I said, pump the brakes. We can't say man cave because now I'm discriminating against women. And now I may be discriminating against other people who have different pronouns. And so we have to be mindful of all of these things. When you get up and say, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, you could be offending someone. And so we have to be mindful of all of these changes that are taking place. We also have to realize that the R in the fresh corn is the race, then the S is the sex or sexual orientation. We have the handicap status, we have the color, religion, national origin. These are all areas that we must be mindful of when we are addressing people. And the more training and the more education you receive, the more mindful you're going to be of these terms. After taking a fair housing training for my continuing education, I referred to a husband and wife as you guys. And immediately I start thinking, uh-oh, did I say something wrong? Now, I know that this seems, a little bit like, are you serious? But yes, some people are going to be super sensitive to whatever you say, whatever you do. So as a real estate agent, as a realtor, you must be mindful of what we can do and what we can't do. So one of the things that we say is that you should at least once a year read through the actual code of ethics. You don't have to read it all at one time, but take it, digest it. What does the article say? What is the article? And then what are the standards of practice? This is an industry that is ever growing, ever evolving. There's tons and tons and tons of information. In fact, most of the information that we need to learn in order to pass our exam, you're not even going to use a lot of it. And then a lot of it, you're also not going to use until you run into a situation. I've been practicing real estate since 2008. And this is the first time that I'm working on a quit claim deed. And actually this year I have 2 quit claim deeds. And so there are going to be things that you're going to run into that you don't have the knowledge or you haven't used it before. Don't fret. You have a broker, you have other resources. So when we think about conversations and conduct, you have to be mindful even of the things that you like on social media. You can't like everything on social media because remember the lady on January the 6th that rushed the Capitol, she thought it was marketing. She got herself in trouble because our personal lives can be brought into scrutiny when the actions that we take, because we are always a realtor, whether we're conducting real estate or not. The fact that we are realtors, people are going to bring all that information into scrutiny. So that deals with our conversations and conduct. Be mindful of what we can do, what we can't do, what we can say, what we cannot say. And then the last part is the contracts. You must know your contracts. The primary contract is the agreement of sale. Yes, you need to know your listing contract. You need to know your buyer's agency agreement. You also need to know the non-exclusive agency agreement. There are other documents out there, but you want to take some time. And I would say, look at the agreement of sale primarily as a book with chapters. Read 1 chapter each day. Familiarize yourself with it. Understand what the deadlines are. The contract says time is of the essence. Our associations also have guides that will help you to understand what each section of the agreement talks about. A lot of people don't understand the contingency period. By default, the contingency period is 10 days. Within those 10 days, you must get all of your inspections done. You must be able to reply to the inspection. If you fail to reply within those 10 days and on day 11 you respond, guess what? You're outside. Your client is now outside of the contingency period. And now that seller doesn't have to do anything that they request. They're not obligated to negotiate with them. And so when we think about that, another area of the agreement of sale is section 26, which deals with default and return of deposit money. By default, that's 180 days. A lot of people put 30 days. A lot of people put 7 days. It is my personal belief that they are confusing if there's a default with the deal dying because of some clause in the contract. So as you think about this, your broker is going to be or should be keeping you informed through forums such as this. You should also be doing all your other training. And then you have other agents in the industry, such as Javier, such as myself, such as BCAR. All of us are here and available to assist you as you dive into becoming a realtor and a successful realtor. Not becoming an alcoholic, but becoming a successful realtor. I've been doing this since 2008 and I haven't had one drink. The only drink I've had is Coke or Pepsi. And that is my time. Pass it on to the next speaker.
That's awesome. And that's a lot of information right there. I thank you guys all for being here. I'm going to put this in speaker mode. Can everybody see me here? I'm like in the middle, right? Cool. So thank you for being here, BCAR members. It's very important for us here at the New Member Success Committee to provide you with value, right? I want everybody to remember a lot of the information that you're receiving here today is going to help. Everything you're receiving here today is going to help, but it only helps if you act on it. Okay, so don't just let this information be entertaining, act on it and make sure you guys are actually putting it to work. So what I'm here to go over with, what I'm here to go over with you is to talk strongly on standing out. Many of you are entering back into in this industry or just coming into this industry for the first time. And there's a lot of competition out there. There's people like me out there who love what I do, and I'm obsessed with real estate. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips, a couple of resources that you can use right now. Okay. So the first resource that I'm going to start with is going to be RPR. Okay. I don't know if everybody can see my screen. This is RPR right here. So this is free. RPR is owned solely by NAR. It's a subsidiary company, and it's provided to us realtors to enhance our market data. All right. It is imperative for everybody on this call to understand your market. All right. Understand your market down to a neighborhood. Now, if you want to understand your entire city or your town, that's good. But you want to understand it on a niche, on the micro type of scale, because that's going to help you when you are speaking to your clients, when you are being asked questions, when you have an investor that's interested in buying in a particular area. So if somebody could, outside of the panel that we have, put a zip code in the chat box, and I would love to actually utilize this time to use your zip code particularly and educate you in your market. So at this time, if anybody can put a zip code in there, all right, cool. We have a zip code 18901. So remember, to get to RPR is very simple. It's narpr.com. Register. Like I said, this is free. Okay, so we're going to go click research and go right to the neighborhood search. Okay, 18901. Once you type in a zip code, instantaneously, well, it takes a couple seconds, you're going to have data. All right, you're going to have data. Immediately, you're going to see that the estimated value of this particular zip code has increased almost 14% since last year. Okay, many of you may say, all right, how can I use that information? That's simple. That's simple. If you want to create, we're going to get to Canva, by the way. And Rhonda's presentation was from Canva, which was amazing. So we're going to get to that. So I'm going to show you guys how to utilize this data, but take a quick moment and see the type of information you are able to use. Like for one, this zip code in February of 2019 was estimated at 432,000. Today, it's estimated at 540,000. This information is vital, especially if you know somebody from this area. Okay, you can inform them of this information. And as you can clearly see, it compares it to the county and also the state. All right, there is so much information on these reports. It even gives you school information. All right, now, why am I telling you guys this? Because you are new real estate agents looking to gain and generate business. You can't do it if you don't know what's going on. Plain and simple. All right. So make sure you guys are going on to this site. I personally teach RPR myself, so you can always get in contact with me and I will love to walk you through it so you can understand more how to use the powerful resource. And one more thing I'm going to show you guys about RPR, because we're going to go to Q&A, guys. It's a lot of questions I know you guys have. Now, this is the map portion of RPR. And check this out. You can actually see a heat map that shows you where to start looking, where to start to look. Let me see, I was on commercial here for a second. where to start to look when you're trying to start your farm. All righty. So as you can clearly see here, you see some darker red areas and you also see some darker blue areas. All right. The darker red areas indicate areas of decline in value. The darker blue is areas of increase in value. So as we know, Janine, my co-chair, she's from Bristol Borough. You can clearly see Bristol Borough is definitely on an incline, but there are some areas which will be in Croydon on a decline. This would be a good opportunity if you had a buyer that kept losing multiple offers in this area to come on down these areas to try to find a better deal. We know when an area is increasing, typically is going to affect similarities. It's going to affect a similar area and raise that value as well once people start to migrate. All right. So I'm not going to go in too far. I could do this all day about RPR because at the end of the day, you guys need this information to stand out. All right. You need to stand out. Okay. Another tool I'm going to show you is Hud Home Store. All righty. This site is going to matter more once the market shifts. And many of you already have been talking about the shift, been saying, oh, seller's market is coming to an end. It's going to be a buyer's market. It's going to be a correction. Don't listen to any of that because it doesn't matter. People need to buy homes. Okay. But when you do see some type of correction, or you have a buyer looking for a particular home, or your buyer is in a particular situation, as you can clearly see here, there are a lot of programs that they offer here on this site. So quickly click on your state. In our case, is Pennsylvania. All right. And it gives you properties within Pennsylvania. Some of these may not be in Bucks County. Some of them pop up in Bucks County all the time, many of which you will find in Philadelphia. The reason why this matters is because you will find discounted properties on this site that you can market to your base. All right. We've all heard the name, the term sphere of influence. All right. So if you go on Instagram and post about a property that is under market value, and it can really truly help somebody who's interested, people see that and people see you of being a person of value. Okay. Now, I'm not going to go too far into the HUD homes because, again, I love it. I'm obsessed with this. And this is what made me successful as a new real estate agent, focusing on these little gaps that most real estate agents do not focus on. All right. Many of you will never hear a real estate agent preaching about the HUD Home Store in your market. You're hearing it now because you know about it, but you won't see it. So take advantage of this. Now, another reason why this site is amazing, it gives you a sense of urgency to use when you're speaking to your clients. All right. It tells you the bid submission time remaining 12 hours. You can use that as a stimulation for someone to make a decision. All right. Or for them to let you know if they're interested. Another good thing about the HUD Home Store is the condition report. All righty. If you click on the condition report here, I'm just going to pop it up. It gives you insights of what problems are inside this property. This is beneficial because you're able to translate that and communicate that to your clients. All right. Before they decide to go out and see the home. Many bank-owned properties do not give you this functionality. So therefore, HUD-owned properties make it so much easier. All right. Now, going over to Canva, canva.com. If you have not gone on canva.com, do it today, period. This is not meant for entertainment. This is meant for you to grow. Okay. So canva.com is free. Yes, I pay for the pro because I love it, clearly. Many of you may not have deals, may not have buyers, may not have sellers, but you have a brokerage that has other agents that are selling properties. Okay. So your goals need to be marketing those properties on your social media. Your goal is to be using those properties for open houses. Okay. So simply all you have to do is go right over here to social media, click Instagram. Many of you use Instagram. So I'm going to use that for an example. If you had the opportunity to do an open house, all you have to do is type in open house, boom. You have a plethora of options to choose from. Now let's just choose this one for example. once you select a template, you have so many options that pop up. Now, many of these you've probably never seen online before, the templates, right? This is how you stand out on your social media. So if your social media is dry, it's bland, and again, I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just saying your social media may be, family and friends, which is nice, but people want to see real estate and they want to see you. So this is where you come and change up the style. Don't get fooled of spending hundreds of dollars on someone selling you a template on Etsy, which is good, by the way. I've seen people really, really take their stuff to the next level by doing so. But as new agents, we don't have that money. All right. We don't have money to just throw away. So this is why coming here, collecting these templates and going at it allows you to fulfill that content box, but also educating your buyers. All right. And many of you may already know me from promoting so much of what I do with new real estate agents. But just to quickly show you something that I haven't even posted yet, but will be posted. This is a carousel post that I made last night. All right. Tired of hearing your clients say this. There's nothing out there for me to purchase. We all know inventory is low and in some cases non-existent. I can't find a property, which I erased the I can't, right? Yes, you can. There are many ways to find off-market sellers right now in your market. And then we change your perspective. And guys, remember, this is a carousel post on Instagram, okay? And this was created very simply just by me making it. All right, just by me typing in some cool stuff. And last but not least, I want to make sure everybody gets this point. I want to drive it home. All right, it's very important that if you want something you never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done. Okay, so everybody in here, it's very important for you to truly understand that the market is aggressive. Everybody in here is in a competition with trying to grow their business. And unless you're standing out and giving people a reason to choose you, failure rate for new agents is pretty high. This is why we have the new member success committee and providing you with the resources so you do not fall into that statistic period. But I'm excited for the questions, guys, because I know you have to have some questions. So please throw them in the chat, raise your hand. And yeah, thank you so much for being here and being part of our Kickstarter event. I'm overexcited just because I love doing this. If you want to reach me, I'm going to put my contact in the chat. And yeah, assume nothing, verify everything, unless there's some questions.
There is a question for Janine.
Let's do it.
You know what? I think that question, Lisa, is looking for specific advice about a scenario that probably we shouldn't get into today.
Okay.
That's the type of thing where they should contact their broker or the PAR legal hotline.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, while I'm off mute, just a fun fact, and I told Javier I was going to say this. If you follow him on Facebook, he's an incredible cook and he'll just make your mouth water. So totally worth it to follow him. You could follow both of us, but really he's got all the food.
Have you tasted any of it yet though?
I have not. He has not offered to make me a meal yet, but when he invites me, I will be at his doorstep.
I'm here to let everybody know.
We have to hold off on there. It looks good, but we got to assume nothing and verify everything.
So we're gonna have some in-person meetings, guys. The goal here is to take this new member success committee to new heights. And we want to invite you all to some events that we're going to be planning in the future. And I promise I will be bringing some things for you to test from all those amazing pictures y'all see. Trust me, it's good. It's all homemade too. So I'll put my insight in the chat.
Maybe we'll link it with a cooking class, and that way you can see his skills at work.
That's a great idea, Janine.
That's how we verify it.
Absolutely.
We can do a video. I'll come and interview you while you're cooking, and I'll be taste testing as well.
Thanks, everybody. Well, we've hit our time, and I appreciate the lengths that our speakers went to stay within the range. I know it's a hard task. I know it is. And, You provided so much wonderful content. Again, we are going to be sending out the recording with the slide decks, etc. Javier just put his email into the chat. Everyone's been putting information into the chat. So I want everyone to feel free to reach out to all of us here. And, your success is our mission. So everybody, thank you so very much. Stay
Do you have
warm.
any questions though? I want to make sure we cover. Yeah, anybody have any questions? Because we went over a lot, guys. And remember, we're here for you. I feel like we didn't do our job if we don't have any questions, because there's no way you guys just took all that in and was just sitting with it and just say, I'm gonna just go back to my day.
I think
You gotta
we're that
have
good,
some
guys.
questions.
We're just that good.
You're
Come
so
on,
good.
Rhonda.
You're so good. Well, I really appreciate everyone taking the time today. It's been terrific. And hey, for our first event of this committee, I think it's gangbusters. You guys rock. Thank you so much. And I think with that, we're gonna be done. Lisa?